On the right side, this is what happened to 2020 September through January 2021. As you guys know, Ryan Quinn enters his positions and end of August actually. So it was August 31st, and then we saw news on September, early September, and
Mhm.
that's what created a rally here. And you see, there's a long signal here, and what created a rally? It might be Roaring Kitty, but it's also the cat system kicks in. So all the timing was just perfect. There was a XRT ETF short covering. So I wasn't here by the time, but they create some sort of like effects here, like ripple effects, and maybe at the time, I don't know, they did a dilution here. I don't know if you guys anybody knows what happened when they smashed down here. But there must be something. Maybe they're shorting, or maybe they did offering, but I haven't really heard they did an offering around this time. But yeah, I think right now it's making a bigger ripples, and they're mimicking like this. So I and then it takes about 5 months from September. So September, October, November, December, January. Then when we see a squeeze. Right
Uh-huh.
now it start from May. So May, June, July, uh, and then August, September. That's 5 months. So September is gonna be the month, in my opinion, if we mimic what GameStop bull cycle like that. On the right side, September, I think is the month that BBY will come out, and there's gonna just like fucking wiped out, like fucking short like
So you
crazy,
think they're
and then
gonna? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, sorry. Yeah, no, yeah. So in my opinion, like I'm not genius or anything. Like based on what I saw, the patterns and algo, and I talked to the other TA people who are really smart. And this is what I came up with: all the events and timeline. And then to create that that huge squeeze. Not only just GameStop need just I mean GameStop already has a lot of short interest possibly, and there's like swaps and all that stuff, but to squeeze that, they should be a catalyst. I mean, and that catalyst, I think it's BBBY, because as you know, BBY already reduced down their debt from $5 billion last year when they first entered Chapter 11, and now they only have 500 million. They just reduced down like 10 times. It's fucking crazy. And then Shorts wants to from 2014, like there was like a whole fucking like JP Morgan was doing like share buyback 10 billion. So it's all okay. So like people think that this is like conspiracy theory, but I think it might be true. It because the year, just the patterns and the fucking like, it just all lines up perfectly. GameStop shorting happened from 2014 by Melbourne Capital, right? And then the blood swap was created in 2014 based on the data from the rechart, right? So everything happened 2014, and if this is right, so I think their plan was to bankrupt these retail stock companies from 2014 to 2020, and I think COVID was event, right?
So I'll say this. I agree with a lot of the stuff in terms of maybe like they are creating like these ripples. I think we will see a lot
Yeah,
more spikes before we get to the final squeeze, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near September. I think that's a little too far off the mark if you ask me.
yeah,
And again, that's just my own opinion. If you think it's September, that's fantastic. I don't know, with everything kind of moving so quickly, with kind of a lot of these moving pieces,
yeah,
I feel like it's a lot sooner rather than later, right? The fact
yeah,
that we have like a lot of this stuff that we're looking back to in terms of some of these memes created by DFE, things like that, some of these dates, quad witching day is obviously tomorrow.
mhm.
I don't know, I
I mean,
can
yeah,
agree that we
it
may
might be
see more
earlier.
kind of ATMs if we do see these spikes, but I don't know.
I
Go
mean,
ahead and wrap it
yeah,
up
yeah.
for us.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it comes out like, I thought about that, guys, too. I mean, like, I mean, I'm not expert, so this could be like completely wrong. Like I said, like, November thesis was, completely was thrown away. But so, like, I might be wrong. But what I'm saying is September, October is always the months that the fiscal year of the Fed is renewed, right? It's like, and
Okay.
also a lot of market crash and market correction actually happen on this time, right? So and then this chart perfectly line up, and then if we mimic this thing, it perfectly ends on the September. So that's just my thesis. If it comes out early, I mean, I don't know, like fucking BBY is a it's gonna be a massive nuclear. It's like it could melt down a lot of. I mean, you guys can imagine, because I can imagine, like, if this comes out and they just wipe out the debt, they comes out, the new shares comes out, and then they're gonna expose the fraud. People be like, why the fuck BBY, squeeze like crazy? There's like 300 or over 400 millions of the shares are all like synthetics, and the GameStop went up this $500 from $5, only just 50 million shares existed, and and there was about maybe what 200% shorts at the time. Only 50 million,
160%.
over only for 50 millions were shorted, right? And then this stock ran up fucking like $500, and then and then they actually has to remove the buy button, right? It could actually gone much further, right? And imagine if BBY comes out with 300 or 400 fucking like shares are all synthetics, and they have to cover, and their financials are great, they wipe out all their debt. I mean, this is nuclear, man. And if this comes out, imagine, guys, this will melt down the market. And are they gonna melt down the market right now? I don't think so. I'm not sure. I think it might be the month that possibly around September, because that's when the whole shit happens. But if this comes out earlier, I mean, of course, I don't know. But
Right on.
that's just how I come up with, right?
All right, cool.
Yeah. Oh, so in terms of the U.S. election and all that, I know, like, historically, in the U.S. election year, it's always like there's a bull, like the market go ups and all that stuff. But there's two times I heard that there was a market crash. That was 2008, I think, and then it was way before. So, and then right now, market seems like the France, even in France, like they own like they borrow a lot of money from U.S., Japan, UK. It's like over 900 billion. And I mean, I saw news there, they might also face financial crisis. Japan as well, there's a lot of shit like that. I also saw there's a video about swap. You guys saw there's a Credit Suisse, and then Bill Huang, he used a swap, and then he basically went down the road, right? Like he got margin call Viacom and other stock. But the interesting thing is, you don't have to own the shares, right? So basically, in the filing, it says you don't have to own the shares, and then you can use a synthetic leverage exposure, right? And imagine this, that maybe there's a small hedge fund like him, or small family hedge fund firm like him, or even bigger hedge fund, that they use this huge swap, and they don't have to own the GameStop stocks, and they can still short the stock with a huge high leverage exposure. And if BBY comes out, I don't know when, but I do think it's maybe somewhere, maybe September. But if BBY comes out, it's gonna fucking destroy the whole thing, right? And I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
nobody will see it coming.
yeah, so let's see coming. Like I'm not saying like my prediction is gonna be right or wrong, right? Like when people talk shit about my predictions and all shit like that, of course, this is like what I'm saying is like just my prediction, So don't like fucking bash on me, but that's just how I come up with. And then I think BBY is gonna be very, very explosive. And then yeah, and Donald Trump, when you look at him, like he's bashing short seller, because of the DJTs getting heavily shorted, all that stuff. And he mentioned, like, in the letter, 60 or over 60% are the volumes are created by Citadel, Virtual, all that stuff, right? The market makers, there's many market makers are creating those things. And then yeah, he complained about it, and then he said there might be a RICO Act, right? He might hire a RICO Act, and maybe fight against it. So I think there's whole situation where, like, yeah, he want to solve this problem, this whole financial problem that has been rooted for a long time, this whole Wall Street corruptions. And I think that's what we're at, like Ryan Cohen is gonna do his thing, right? He's gonna just focus on his work. We're gonna keep looking for support this company and all that stuff. But yeah, I think even though this is the year of the US elections, I do think that there's a possible that we could see a market crash we're gonna start to see a market crash in September, and then early next year, possibly around March, I think we're gonna see a fucking like a crazy market crash. So
I agree.
that's
Right.
just